I believe we should have a conversation about your spending habits soon. What sort of real estate do you come across? You do realize how much money you've spent on it over the past 2 years, doesn't it? This is more than just a good buy. Chris Doumitt has left Gold Rush. An absurd event transpired during season 15. Viewers have witnessed him solve every issue, repair every broken machine, and keep Parker Schnabel's business running smoothly. Why would the most reliable men in the world decide to stop digging for gold? Chris snapped this season because he couldn't handle the pressure. 10,000 ounces of gold were Parker's insane goal. They were on the verge of collapse from the start due to this goal chase, an inflated figure that defied logic. However, Parker does not establish modest objectives. He cranked up the pressure and simultaneously ran Bob's plant, Big Red, and Rock Sand to get it done. More plants must equal more gold, right? On paper, it seemed like a fantastic idea. Not at all, actually. Behind the scenes, everyone on the squad was feeling the strain, but Chris Doumitt took it the worst. Things behind the scenes were considerably more serious than anyone had anticipated, so let's get that out of the way first. You won't believe what happens next either. He's been the unseen force behind the scenes who guarantees a steady stream of gold. On the other hand, this season the work became next to impossible. For 3 wash plants, it's non-stop labor to empty the sleeve boxes and prevent any loss of gold. That is extremely painful for my back. Working non-stop was taking its toll on the man who was showing no signs of youth. I despise it when we have to force ourselves to do things we'd rather not do just to meet our ounces extraction deadline. It annoys me. No matter how hard he tried, eventually even the hardest men have to give it their all. You know he hates to gripe if you've been a fan of Gold Rush, but he really didn't have a choice this season. He had to find a way to express himself or lose it due to his overwhelming workload. I don't think any amount of training could alter that. It needed to improve. Parker had no intention of removing someone from a machine to assist in the gold room due to the crew's current workload. That put him in a difficult position. Enter Tatiana Costa. You might not expect her to wear the gold despite the fact that she is one of the team's top performers. He mentioned her as a potential backup, leaving Parker to make a decision. Despite their reluctance, Mitch and Tyson knew they had to let her go or face the prospect of him leaving permanently. At last, Parks consented. There was finally some additional support while Tatiana was being trained. Was it too little too late though? No amount of additional bodies in the gold room could alleviate the tension. Cracks started to show as the season progressed, but Parker's hunger for gold remained unquenchable. Season 4 began with Chris Doumitt becoming a member of Parker's crew. He rose to prominence rapidly and became an integral part of the team. However, this season tested every man's limits in ways nobody anticipated. His journey to Gold Rush was unplanned. He began his career as a carpenter for Todd Hoffman's crew, where he built houses, but soon enough he found himself in the middle of a gold rush. He proved to be exceptionally skilled in the field. His joining Parker's team was the turning point. Despite Parker's annual record-breaking performances in the gold room, no one is immune to exhaustion. The true issue isn't whether he can manage his current workload, but rather if he desires to. Gold Rush would be incomplete without this dedicated fighter in the minds of fans. Through thick and thin, he has been there and he has kept things going even when things became crazy. This season, though, is distinct. With all the stress, exhaustion, and work that needs to be done, it appears he might be finished for good this time. There is no easy way to become a gold miner. You must possess the qualities of perseverance, patience, and toughness, but you must consider, will it be worthwhile? For a long time, Chris has been busy ensuring the company runs well, but if quitting would compromise his well-being and happiness, should he do it? As the season progresses, that remains the unanswered question. If he does decide to depart, what will become of the remaining team members? This was the worst season Chris had ever experienced. Despite his history of tough seasons, things were becoming worse in the gold room. Discovering 10,000 ounces of gold was the insane objective. Because it is such a massive undertaking, everyone is under a great deal of stress. Since Chris has been here before, he may have had enough of the arduous labor. there will be a significant loss for the team if he departs. To keep everything operating smoothly, they require that individual. But gold has the power to drive people away, and Chris isn't the kind to give up easily. More than just digging, Chris has been a part of the squad for over a decade. He maintains composure when the squad is under pressure and is responsible for finding all of the gold. He had no background in mining before he arrived here. A mere handyman, he was unintentionally drawn in. But he proved to be one of the hardest workers there by picking up the ropes fast once he got there. He's now among the few constants in this kingdom obsessed with gold. In the gold room, Chris's primary responsibility is to transform dirt into pure gold. It's a challenging task. Real money disappears the moment an error is made. Nothing is wasted because Chris knows how to do it properly. Without his actions, their gold salvage numbers would be significantly lower. In a game where every detail matters, assigning the correct person to clean up after mistakes is crucial. With Chris at the helm, every run is maximized. However, Chris is more than simply a statistic. He's the glue that keeps everyone in the group. How's it going, man? Oh, not too bad. Good to see you, buddy. And you? How are you doing, T? Oh yes, how to clean gold. Yeah, continuously. The long hours, terrible weather, and broken tools make every day a battle in mining. In fact, things get worse when standards are too high. Chris keeps things from getting out of hand with his easygoing demeanor and sardonic humor. Everyone looks to him when times get rough. He gives the squad a sense of unity. In addition to being a vital motivator, he is also a decisive voice who steps up when the going gets tough. Whether it's figuring out how to process gold, fixing broken equipment, or dealing with crew issues, Chris is quite accurate. He's proven over the years that he's more than just a cog in the wheel. He's vital to the success of this company. Setting an absurdly high target, such as operating 3 wash plants simultaneously, was the true test. Aiming for 10,000 ounces in a single season was practically unachievable. The situation was chaotic, and Chris took the brunt of it. Nothing got lost in the jumble, and he had to check that every single sea box was empty. He also had to clean the gold thoroughly. He felt like giving up for the first time after being pushed beyond his limit. He's beginning to notice that the 10,000 are gradually decreasing. Surely we could manage 10, couldn't we? However, our expenses would subsequently increase by, say, 50%. To prevent things from collapsing entirely, additional help had to be summoned. This objective was obviously unattainable without Chris. No one can deny Chris's impact on Gold Rush. From a complete miner's naivete, he rose to become a titan in the industry. His steadfast commitment, tireless work, and ability to unite the group are the reasons why his fans adore him. Chris is the rock upon which the company rests. He is responsible for making sure everything runs smoothly. While one man acts as the public face, without him, things would be drastically different, as is well known by everyone. Still unanswered is the crucial question, is Chris prepared to call it quits? Every athlete, no matter how big or strong, has their limits when they work non-stop for years under constant pressure to set new records. If he decides to leave, the squad will need to step up their game to compensate. If he stays, he'll be exhausted and anxious for another season. No matter what happens, things will change. One of Gold Rush's most well-known characters is going to leave the game soon. Can Chris resist the temptation of one final shot at winning big? Digging for gold has never been more challenging, that much is certain. It wasn't a good beginning for Parker's story, even though he never cheated. In the beginning, there was a child who would not, under any circumstance, give up. Whoever took control was the one who got the gold. Excuse me. When he was too little to tie his own shoes, he was already mastering tasks that most people would find challenging. He was able to juggle school and digging with ease after a few years. In high school, he played on the basketball team, but let's be honest, he's always had a soft spot for me. Why not go to college? It was a choice indeed. Ultimately, He decided that schooling in geology or mining wouldn't help him, despite his best efforts. Instead of frittering away his years in school, he invested in his passion, a mining business, with his savings. My entire life was altered by that decision. He became the mine manager of the Big Nugget at the tender age of 16. A young man instructing two more experienced men in the proper way to carry out their duties. Sounds absurd. However, he wasn't merely instructing others because he was knowledgeable about the subject. Making holes and searching for gold isn't the only thing that mining entails. Laborious, risky, and an uphill battle against Mother Nature are all necessary. His bravery, intelligence, and determination were on full display. Then, the big break and reality television arrived. During the early 2010s, Discovery Channel aired the reality series Gold Rush, which followed a family as they gambled everything to become wealthy. The young miner and his family were smack dab in the thick of things, and the public couldn't get enough of his inspirational story. Jordan is beginning to close the gap, you know. He's picking up speed now. I will see you just before I depart. He will be following closely behind me with an empty box. Being on the show alone wasn't sufficient, though. Plans were bigger for him. He shocked everyone with an action he did when he was a teenager. He decided to strike out on his own in the Yukon after leaving the mine his family had owned. It was an insane gamble, but he was never one to play it safe. He gathered laborers, purchased necessary equipment, and set out to cultivate the land. And you know what else? The plan succeeded. While exploring alone for the first time, he discovered over 1,000 ounces of gold. There's no chance involved. That's deliberate action. With each passing season, his business grew larger and more precarious.